Sir, India recently entered into a 10-year framework with the USA for defense partnership.
We have a total of $6.2 billion invested in the US. MQ-9B, the Sky Guardian drones, 31 in number, is $4 billion. If you would be aware, the strikers and the javelins, your anti-tank missile systems, you know which we are getting, and the striker combat vehicle. Both these things, the talks had already commenced, and I think this is going to be put on hold. Our operational preparedness is affected, so we will have to take a call this way or that way, whether to go with the US or go with France or South Korea or Japan. He also mentioned that jet engines we would need to manufacture in India. And with France, with Safran, we are going in for a collaboration for the 414. So I think we are right now mostly centric on the Pakistan Navy, and we will be actually going in for the SSBNs.
Hi, I'm Pratim Ranjan Bose, and you are watching Podcast with Pratim, presented by Iravati Research and Communication Center. In this episode, we will discuss India-US Defense Partnership. I have with me retired Major Dr. Rajan Kochhar. Major General Dr. Rajan Kochhar. He is an expert on defense sector modernization and director of NIET Business School in Delhi. Mr. Kochhar advises various defense research institutes and think tanks in India. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much, Pratim, for inviting me to this podcast. I'm grateful for your.
Sir, India recently entered into a 10-year framework with the USA for defense partnership. The deal includes advancing defense, industrial, science, and technology cooperation, operational coordination, regional cooperation, and information sharing. Now, this is quite against the current political tide. We are aware that the US did not share information during Operation Sindoor, imposed a huge 50% tariff on Indian goods, and for all practical purposes, there is a shadow of Cold War days in the US narrative. From that perspective, what does this agreement indicate? What is your take on the issue? Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Pratim. You see, I think it's still too early times to pass a judgment on this because I am given to understand that trade talks, the 2+2 dialogue has recently been completed with the United States, and aspects regarding trade were also discussed. The tariffs also, there is a talk that may be negotiated. So I don't yet would like to pass an epitaph to say that this relationship is going to be impacted on other areas also. Because as you mentioned, the defense, because these are strong agreements. You mentioned communication. Yes, there has been a fallout on that. And possibly both the countries would need to review this, talk it out with each other. For the information of the viewers, we have a total of $6.2 billion invested in the US in terms of defense equipments. Some are in finalizing or very advanced stage of procurement, and some are in the pipeline. This is our larger actually concern because uh, to give you an example, MQ-9B, the Sky Guardian drones, 31 in number, is $4 billion. And US has promised an MRO facility in India. It is
Right.
going to create some jobs also in India. Local assembling also is going to happen in India. So defense ecosystem is being created in India. So it will be prudent to say that India would be interested to go through this deal of $4 billion. The next one is for the Navy helicopters MH-60R, 24 in number, total cost $1.17 billion. This delivery has already started. So I think this will also go through. Now, what is going to be impacted is very, very important. And the first point of impact is your P-81 Poseidon. We have this surveillance aircraft which the Navy is asking for, and six additional are going to come. Already the first consignment has already been delivered, but the remaining consignment of six may be put on hold because this is what I'm hearing, that India may like to go slow on this. The next is the G engines. As you are aware, it's a $1 billion deal, and we are going in for F404 for the LCA Mark 1 Alpha and 414 for the LCA Mark 2 as well as the AMCA Mark 1. So this project, I think, seriously, India is planning to shift it from the US to the saffron. In France, talks have already commenced. So this important fallout of tariff is going to impact the US defense industry and $1 billion. And my last is, if you would be aware, the strikers and the javelins, anti-tank missile systems, you know, which we are getting, and the striker combat vehicle. Both these things, the talks had already commenced, and I think this is going to be put on hold. And Raytheon, US is the company from where we would be planning to actually get this, but I think this will be on hold. So, most important aspect now is that the relationship or the equipment which has already come, because my actually concern is, Pratim, for that equipment which is already with India in terms of C-17, C-130 Globemaster, Chinook helicopters, Apache helicopters, ultralight howitzers, 777. Because all these platforms have a sustenance of around 30 to 40 years. So in case United States has given us this, it is the responsibility and the duty of the United States to sustain this equipment with the Indian Armed Forces for the next about 40 years. My concern is that if these relations become strained, and if we don't pursue the jet engines with the United States, if we don't pursue the strikers, if we don't pursue the other Poseidon, things like this is going to create a kind of a rift with the United States and a deft diplomacy, I would actually call it, because right now, or the whole world including the USA, is closely watching the SEO summit. because this SCO summit is going to bring in Russia and China and India together. And one would like to see what exactly will there be a realignment now, or it is too premature to talk about a realignment, because these defense deals for India are important. And in case there is uh, a stop or a hold on these deals, our operational preparedness is affected. So we will have to take a call this way or that way, whether to go with the US or go with France or South Korea or Japan. And one important aspect of Japan, which I would like to mention here, is because Prime Minister visiting Japan also. So I see a talk going on for semiconductors, a talk going on some kind of a technological collaboration, which is a shift from the United States collaboration. As you are aware, ISET is there, Compact is there, Indus is there, COSA is there, Limio is there. There's so many agreements we have actually made in the field of defense also. But I think this is my personal opinion that everything is going to get impacted.
Okay. Uh, I understand you. I mean, I can understand your why you are holding your horses, because this is not the time. There is no clarity in the geopolitics, first of all, that what is going to happen. This is merely the time when there is a shake-up. So we have to wait till the dust settles and the relationships are realigned. Uh, just building good relations with China goes with India's policy neutrality, but siding with China is a different issue. I do doubt that whether India will just be aligned. It cannot afford to. It has a policy neutrality to that it maintains so far. But there is a question, sir, on the GE engines. Now we saw that the government has actually upped the stake. They gave more orders. So what does it mean? I mean, there can be two. As someone, as a student of business, I read it like this: that I'm just upping the game. I'm giving a more, making the offer more lucrative and asking the other party to come and walk the talk. And but at the same time, given that the US has behaved irresponsibly, it has become important for that we must do some strategic diversification or reduce the dependence on US wherever it is. So, so that being said, the issue for domestic manufacturing of engines, which was originally promised by GE, and they have been delaying that, so is very issue. So is very kind of live. And you said about saffron. I would also like to ask you that what happened. There was a indigenous attempt to build engines, and I believe that failed to deliver, because ultimately you have to have your own domestically manufactured weapons. That is the only way you can attain sufficiency. Dependence on these people, isn't it, sir?
No, you are absolutely right. Because you see, Prime Minister Modi also mentioned in a recent, he was addressing at some rally. He also mentioned that jet engines we would need to manufacture in India. And with France, with Saffron, we are going in for a collaboration for the 414, not 404, because the 404, deliveries have already started in trickles from the United States, and I think that will carry on. There won't be a plug on that. But as far as the AMCA unit project, see, we have to look at the AMCA project as a futuristic project of the Indian Air Force. And Indian Air Force also recently, the MiG-21s have been given a farewell. And we are now down to around 29 squadrons after the MiG-21 actually goes off. So a very large gap is there in our capability in terms of managing a front with China as well as Pakistan. So I think this project of saffron with France is going to be a joint venture. And what Prime Minister Modi was hinting at is he was hinting at saffron coming to India, establishing a base here and manufacturing of these engines for India as well as for other customers. So
Right.
it is going to be not only India Eurocentric. Like I'll give you, for example, AK-203 project, where around 45,000 have already been supplied to the Indian Army against uh, order of about 6.5 lakhs. Uh, Now, the futuristic part of that project is also that not only it will meet the requirements of the Indian Armed Forces, it will also meet the requirement of the other customers of the other countries. So we are going in for that kind of a model, and I think uh, this will happen with this sort of engine as a jet engine, as you have said, because this transfer of technology is taking place. France is open to it, and France has not raised any kind of objections in transferring technology of the jet engines. And once the technology is with us, I am sure our own people would be able to subsequently make a homegrown technology and further upgradations. Because you see, what happens is that you buy a, a fighter aircraft platform, you have to sustain it for the next 40 years. And it demands constant upgradation of avionics, your weapons, your sensors. And so you need to have the source codes. As we experienced when we wanted in Operation Sindoor to uh, have the BrahMos actually fitted onto the Rafales, we couldn't do it because we didn't have the source code. So uh, I'm of the firm opinion that whatever we do now or from now onwards, whatever we plan to import defense equipment, it has to be done on a joint venture basis. The industry has to be set up in India, and it has to come with transfer of technology.
Absolutely right. I mean, I think both of us are what would like to see that this. Yes, we have to build our military capacities, but we don't want a repetition of the past where it went on imports. Already, we are very high on imports. We are one of the, if not the largest, importer of arms. So the money must not go out, and our dependence on others must not increase. I believe that is exactly what you were saying,
Absolutely.
sir. It's a closing remark, and I'm sure you may not be aware about it much because it belongs to Navy. We hear very little about, and I consider it as a good sign, about the nuclear submarine, attack nuclear submarine project. Uh, any comments on that?
You see, we have
I
the
think it was P95 or something, right?
Yeah, yeah. We have the Arihant with us. Uh, so that's a nuclear submarine with the Indian Navy has. And we are trying to get in SSBNs, it is called, this nuclear submarine. And we have Scorpio class submarines also coming to us from France. And we are in talks with the Russians also for the SSBN, a nuclear submarine. So I think,
But that is ballistic one, right?
yes, 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 ballistic
But
one.
we have a need for the attack ones.
You see, uh, what is the difference between the attack and the ballistic? After all, both are meant, for offensive role.
One sits at a
Huh.
particular place with the
Yeah,
arsenal. The other
and
one
one can move around. Yeah,
can
yeah.
move around.
Yes, so we will actually uh, have to go in the incremental actually basis. First, we have to, what I was talking to some of the naval officers, they were more keen on the SSBNs right now because that is of paramount importance as far as Pakistan is concerned. Because our actually maritime adversary, uh, being the closest to our maritime borders, is Pakistan. And China is too big a navy to compete with. Even if you buy those attack submarines, we will not be able to match it with the kind of arsenal China has. So I think we are right now mostly centric on the Pakistan Navy, and we will be actually going in for the SSBNs very shortly.
First. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. We will keep conducting such quick podcasts time and again.
No, no, thank you,
Thanks.
Pratim. Always a pleasure to be on a show.